right, we are here at my tiny traveling worm bin, and the last time that we were in here, we ended up restarting this bin by finishing the migration and harvesting the accumulated worm castings. And right away, I'm seeing a little bit of dryness here, but it is really damp under the bubble wrap that we had on here. Now, it has been a total of 24 days since we were in here last, and that is because we took a trip up to the Blue Ridge Mountains and to Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And I'm already starting to see a little bit of a worm there because we did put a whole lot of dry shredded cardboard. Actually, we put damp shredded cardboard up here, and it has formed a pretty good layer underneath from where we fed right here. So on that trip, we had our 3 boys and their respective wife, fiance, and girlfriend with us, and we decided to save everything that we possibly could that was compostable, and we're going to put it into this bin. In fact, we aren't going to put anything in this traveling worm bin this year that didn't come from a trip that we're on. So we collected everything up, and this is what it all looked like. Lots of food scraps. We did end up saving a lot of bedding, but some of it went in to start a campfire. And we even saved our eggshell grit and the coffee that we used. So I think this is going to last us for a few feedings, and we've got some other trips planned to other national parks that we'll be saving up our food scraps for. And let's kind of go in the middle and see if they ate any of the last feeding, and it clearly looks like they finished it off, and lots of great worms in here. So let's review what we fed them last. First, I laid down a thin layer of damp shredded cardboard. Then we gave them a lettuce stalk from my garden, along with a couple of banana peels, a couple of apple cores, and some strawberry tops that we dumped in as well. Next, we added a couple of leftover food scraps saved from my micro worm bin to include another piece of lettuce and a banana peel. Finally, we added worm chow, spent coffee grounds, and pulverized eggshell grit, and then we topped it off with damp shredded cardboard. And although we saved the eggshells and I pulverized them up and the coffee, I don't think we're going to have worm chow in this worm bin, and that is not required. If you have a worm bin, you do not need to put worm chow in it. But the material feels fantastic. Now, there is a lot of shredded cardboard, and they are not going to see any of that being added for a very long time, unless I find like a toilet paper tube roll and I can shred that up. I'm not against helping to break it down for them like I do with this, but these are some great fat worms, and we've got a little baby right here, so that always makes me happy that the bin is still active. Got some bigger pieces of cardboard right here as well, and I'll just rip them up. Another baby right there. Love to see it. And let's kind of go over here, and I'm going to mix in this dry cardboard from the top because we're going to put more food and bedding in, and yeah, that looks great right there. They are all over the place in there. Looking good right down the center, right where the food was and where the dampness is. Important to make sure that your worm bins are damp. You really don't want to see the dry shredded cardboard like I saw down underneath. If you use it as kind of a top covering, then you might run into that. But if you see it down there, then you need to make sure that you're dampening your bedding before you put it in, especially on a newer bin. As the bin gets older in weeks and months, then it's going to have more worm castings, which retain lots of moisture, and then you can start putting in dry shredded cardboard. This looks like maybe a pepper stalk or some kind of stalk to something that's going to be in here for a while. All right, you know what this is? This was probably the barrier that we had when we did our migration. And check it out, the worms love to hide in between corrugated cardboard. We got some juveniles and some babies right there. Really cool to see. All right, let's come over to this side and see if we have any more. Got some more of that barrier there, and there's some bigger worms. We'll just kind of separate that out for them. Oh, there's a nice one. That worm is kind of upside down, but you can see the clitellum really well. It's kind of bulging. We'll turn it over right there, and you can see on a red wiggler, you got a little bit of an orange tail, and you've got typically a clitellum that you can see kind of separated from the sides. Bulging is the best way to describe it. And then we'll head to this corner. Things are looking good. Things are looking real good. So we've got to devise a way to put our food scraps probably within the bedding so that they get to it, because although it looks like I have a lot of shredded cardboard in here now, in about a month they will have eaten most of it down because it will have been aged, and then the only bedding, like I said, they're going to get is going to be, you know, the stuff that you would typically have on a road trip, like napkins, that kind of thing. So yeah, this corner was exceptional. I think this is the corner that we had put down all the food scraps during the migration, so it feels more damp and there's more worms and more action over there. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. I'm just going to get under the side closest to me and kind of dump over. Yep, this worm bin has about 1,000 worms in it, and I know that because I've counted them on several occasions, and we've got some beauties right there. So worms will fill a worm bin to its carrying capacity, and then kind of the death of the worms and the birth of the worms kind of equals out, and they maintain their population. They don't foul up the bin or anything like that. Plus, you're taking worm castings out, so you're getting rid of anything that they have pooped out. So there we go. We've got a little bit of a trough there, and we are going to set up nicely for our feeding. All right, we got an audible. Executive producer says there's a lot of dry bedding over here, which I can't see as well, so we'll mix that in, and then once I get the go-ahead from her, we'll make the trough. How am I doing? Am I doing good? All right, I think that giggle makes me realize that things are okay now, just like that. There's a good setup for us. So I've got a piece of the egg carton, and this looks like it was from coffee that we got. So we'll put that in for some new cardboard and new bedding for them. And I think I'll break this up a little bit, just like that. Set that in. And I got another correction. This was from the apple orchard we went to, and we got some cider. But here is what I'm going to put down so that we can put some food in here. Now, this is a lot of food. I don't know if I will eat it all, but I definitely want to try this part of gingerbread house and the crust of a sandwich. We've got one person in our party that doesn't like to eat crust. So let's put this right here, and we'll go with a tomato and some strawberries. Oh, we even have some spaghetti in there. And some more strawberries and a cucumber peel with some more cucumbers. You know what? We're just going to put it all in. Got some rolly eyes from the executive producer, but that's okay. I think the worms will be able to get to most of this. This is all pretty fast food except for the banana. That outer peel here might take a little bit longer. This is a little piece of potato that may take longer along with the spaghetti. And this, I think we're going to see again. In fact, I should really bury this underneath because it is extremely dry and needs to get more wet. So you know what? Let's put some amendments on here. So we saved our coffee in a bag. So I'm just going to have to kind of grab it out and spread it on top just like that. And I have created a problem because my gloves are a mess. And then next we're going to put in some eggshell grit. Those eggshells that you saw are the ones that are in here, and I pulverized them in my Magic Bullet blender, and the worms definitely go to the eggshell pretty quickly. And you can keep me honest because this one has a handle and the one I use for all my other worm bins doesn't. So if you see me without the handle one, let me know in the comments in future videos because I want to make sure I'm just putting stuff that we have used on our trips. And one of the things that it does is it really helps you realize, one, how much stuff you use, but also how easy it is to just kind of save and recycle it instead of just throwing it all in the garbage. And this worm bin is going to come with us. It is a traveling worm bin. It is extremely small, about the size of a men's shoebox, and we have found it very easy to travel with in our minivan. So because I don't want all this food on the top sticking out, I'm going to attempt to kind of lift and put stuff over it. This is a worm bin that is inside our house, and I don't want any kind of anything looking for any of the food. Now it does have screen mesh over the holes, so nothing technically should get in there, but I always like to bury all my food scraps, and you should do the same in your worm bins. And I think that will do it right here. Let me see if I can get some more material from the sides and kind of put it on top. I'm going to have that bubble wrap on here, so that will help to retain moisture and kind of protect it from anything. But again, this thing has a lid, has a lot of air holes, but everything should work out good in it. So on we go with our secret moisture weapon, and that is this bubble wrap. I like to put it over it, and that really retains the moisture, just like you saw at the very beginning. It looks like it's just a little bit longer than what I need, so I think I'll try and fold over the side here. And I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give me a like. And if you want to see a worm bin that I think is best for beginners, check out this video right here. And if you're ever in the Blue Ridge area or Helene, Georgia, go ahead to the Georgia Mountain Coaster. It is a blast, and you got to check out Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We had a fantastic time. So I hope you're having a great day. I hope your worm bins are doing fantastic. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.